This is FightFans Radio.
Welcome to Across the Pond with your hosts, Andre Jacobs and Matt Simpson.
Wait, are we live? Are we live? We good? Matt, are we fantastic? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Well, as I told you earlier, I think I had 10 beers, 10 Budweisers for Bex last night, so I'm feeling perfectly fine, to be honest. Beer doesn't do a damn thing to me.
Yeah, but I'm more referring to what you woke up to.
I'm not sure if I want to talk about that online, but yeah. I'll let everyone's imagination sort of... I woke up basically to the female version of... What's the name of that cat, the really big dude in the Goonies?
Sloth? Are you
Sloth.
serious?
Well, yeah.
Are you sure it was a woman?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a woman.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that was...
That is horrible.
I'm on my holiday, baby. I'm still doing the show. We're still doing Across the Pond MMA, and guess where we're doing it? We're doing it in the house where Across the Pond MMA first started, my mum's house.
How's your mom doing?
She's good. She's telling me that I walked in the door and she called me a oversized hobo because of my beard, and told me to shave, which I had done. I've now got a fantastic 5 o'clock shadow, so I'm looking beautiful, and looking so beautiful that I pulled sloth last night. So
Yeah, hopefully tonight goes a little bit better.
yeah, it should do. I'm a stud, you know what I'm saying? I'm all good. I'm all good. Erica, what's up? How you doing, homie? Mingling with John Jones, as you so put over Twitter.
Oh yeah. I had a blast in Toronto. Toronto was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a good place.
What was it like talking to John Jones? Did you get in depth with him? Try and get you into the back seat of his vehicle?
Well, first off, we were on a plane. There only sat 20 people. So, but he's a nice kid. He's a very nice kid. I enjoyed talking with him. He's funny. And we kind of talked about a bunch of things. So, we talked about some of the records that he broke on last weekend against Vitor Belfort. John Jones now is the light heavyweight with the most submissions in the UFC.
Yes.
And he also surpassed Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz with the most significant strikes in the UFC.
Wow. And the dude hasn't even had puberty yet. I'm pretty impressed. Actually, I can't really say anything because I wish I could grow that sort of beard. I only get that beard on my chin. So, yeah, I'm very jealous of Mr. Jones and his facial hair.
He did have a fantastic beard.
It is a fantastic beard. It is a fantastic beard. But yeah, congratulations to him. That was UFC 152 last weekend. Should we do a recap on that? What were your thoughts, Mr. Simpson, on Mr. Jones and Vitor Belfort? Did you jump out of your proverbial seat when Vitor snapped on that armbar?
Absolutely, I thought it was all but over. So I feel a bit. I mean, when fighters don't tap, I always feel like you should tap, which makes me a little bit of a hypocrite because when I was younger and in my sports career, I've had multiple torn rotators, broken ankles. Most of my injuries came from me going, I'm at point of injury and then pushing through it and getting the injury. So, but looking back, I wish I wouldn't have done that as much. And so I hope that John's arm heals up. I know I heard that he had possible nerve damage.
No, it's not nerve damage. It's fine.
He doesn't have any nerve damage. Everything's good.
It's fine. He'll be fine. He'll be back. He'll be back at probably at the start of the year.
Well, so yeah, hopefully that is the case. I mean, but John Jones. I mean, what can you say about him? He's impressive. I mean, the fact that his arm was that messed up and he continued to attack with it and dominated Vitor. I mean, we thought he would dominate Vitor, but the fact that he faced maybe the toughest moment in his light heavyweight career with Vitor hanging off of his arm and fought through it and got the submission win. I mean, this tells you what type of champion he is. I mean, he's a fantastic fighter.
I think it's very, very interesting that you said that he had the armbar and it was his arm was all messed up. He was still hitting the arm. The most significant part about that is he was still causing damage with said arm. So that was really impressive.
He was, like you said, I mean, he's an amazing fighter, and so I felt like that John Jones needed a loss to go to the next level, to where I think that he can end up, because I feel like at times John, because he is so good that he makes mistakes because he feels like he can recover from them, and I think that this, even though it wasn't a loss, Vitor sinking in that armbar had to scare the living hell out of him, and I think that's gonna make him be not get Paul Sast. I mean, I think that's what when we talk about the UFC fuel card. I mean, I think you'll see a tighter game out of John Jones, and it's just going to be a lot more trouble for light heavyweights.
Yeah, to be honest, they were in a lot of trouble anyway. So now there's in a lot more trouble, as you said. What were your thoughts on the flyweight tournament final between Demetrius Johnson and Joseph Benavidez? Did we both pick Joseph Benavidez?
Yes, we did. So, props to DJ.
How foolish he?
I mean, that guy is absolutely. I thought his speed wouldn't make that big of a difference, but man, how I was extremely way off on that one. I mean, that guy just continues to improve. Amazing fight. I thought it was a great fight. I really enjoyed it, and I felt like Demetrius won the fight, so I think it was a good decision his way. I mean, like I said, it was an entertaining fight. It stinks that the flyweight division is is just not very deep. I mean, I think there's only maybe a dozen guys in the UFC right now fighting at flyweight. But Demetrius Johnson looked great, and Joseph, just couldn't get it done.
No, I completely agree. It was the speed really of Demetrius Johnson, and I know everyone was talking about it and whatnot, but his speed completely took Joseph Benavidez's power away from him. It was a brilliant performance. Now, Erica, just a quick question, because you were actually there. Was there any specific reason why the crowd should have been booing, or were they just belligerent bulls?
It was probably a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. Technically speaking, it was a brilliant performance from Demetrius Johnson. It was not the most exciting fight, though. It's not a fight that I would go back and rewatch at all. And that's just from a personal standpoint. In the back, while we're taking the stats for the fight, there really weren't. We expected the fight to be a blowout in terms of strikes thrown, because they're the little guys, and we expect them to come out guns a-blazing, and they really didn't. They really didn't do that at all. There was a lot of feinting, but not really a whole lot of punches thrown in that fight. So I can imagine sitting in the audience for 5 rounds of that and getting a little frustrated with it. So that does not excuse them for booing the fight. I mean, the guys went out and did what they had to do, and Benavidez couldn't get off, and Johnson was just too fast for him, and what else could you do? That was the fight, and but also, if you paid $200 for a ticket to go see a show, and I want to boo, to be honest with you, I paid money to be here. I can do whatever the hell I want. So if I want to boo because I'm not happy with what I paid for, I also think that that's their right, and I think it's wrong for Dana White to tell people, if you didn't like the fight, then don't buy the next pay-per-view or whatever he said. My two
Alright,
cents.
fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Erica. If we want to get some more stuff from you, I'll make sure I'll tell you. So, Michael Bisping, Brian Stan, very impressed with the performance. Not sure why people think how Brian Stan won. Definitely had Bisping winning. Did you see it the same way?
Absolutely. I was completely blown away by the comments from Brian and Dana. So, yeah, I had Bisping winning it all the way. I thought he dominated the fight outside of the one time when Stan caught him and hurt him briefly at the end of the first round. I don't think there was any question Michael Bisping won that fight.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was incredibly impressed with Bisping. But we all knew that he had decent wrestling, and we all knew that Brian Stan doesn't have the best defensive wrestling ever. So it was evident that Bisping was going to try and take him down to the ground. I just kind of wish Bisping would finish, and that's really it. I mean, he sort of has a Nick Diaz style of striking that just constantly tapping his leg, and it works. You know what I mean? Because it frustrates people. It frustrates fighters, and he's able to take them down afterwards. So, I was very impressed with Bisping, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. And Brits can wrestle apparently. I mean, I enjoy a bit of wrestling now, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, Bisping, like you said, I mean, Bisping looked fantastic. His wrestling was on par. His striking was on par.
No doubt.
I still don't see, even though he might make it to a fight with Silva, I don't see him winning that fight. But he did look great against Brian Stan.
I think he deserves a shot now, to be honest.
I do too, because I think I need an excuse to come over to the UK.
Sure, across the pond MMA, side by side.
There you go.
That'd be crazy. That shit be cray. That's like some slang for you to use with the kids. No, not gonna throw that one out there. Okay.
No.
Right, to be honest, I don't really want to talk about. I don't ever want to think about Matt Hamill versus Roger Hoylett again.
That fight should have never been on the main card. I think we might have hit on that when we were breaking this card down.
I can tell you the exact fight we said should have been on the main card.
Was it fight of the night?
It was TJ Grant versus Evan Dunham. We said that should have been. I said it. I'm pretty sure you agreed with me. Yeah, that was a boring ass fight. Cub Swanson versus Charles Oliveira.
Well, I mean, I picked Cub to take him out, so I was extremely happy to see that happen. I mean, Cub keeps on winning, so I just
think it's hard for him to get that title shot, judging by the way he got knocked out by Jose Aldo. I mean, 8 seconds double flying knee.
I agree. I mean, he's going to have to get some more wins, but that doesn't. Those things happen. I mean, what I'd like to see is maybe him get a shot at Ricardo Lamas again. And avenge that loss, and go from there. Interesting.
Let's talk about TJ Grant versus Evan Dunham. That was a fantastic fight. I mean, the preliminary card was fantastic for this event, but TJ Grant versus Evan Dunham was absolutely amazing. What were your thoughts going through that fight? I was thinking a more technical version of Clay Guida versus Diego Sanchez. That's what it felt like to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing fight. I mean, the exchanges. I mean, these guys took some hellacious shots. TJ Grant just kept stalking down Evan Dunham. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, I think that I haven't rewatched that fight, but I'm going to, and it might overtake Dustin Poirier, Chan Sung Jung for fight of the year for me so far.
Really?
Yeah, it was just a fantastic fight. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, two guys. So many times we have decisions where you're just at the, especially in the third round, the fight just kind of slows down and can get boring. And this fight never slowed down. I mean, it was balls to the wall for 3 rounds, and I could have had 2 more and been extremely happy.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I remember just sitting because I've done the complete geeky thing of connecting my PC to my TV. So for the first time, I was actually able to watch like the Facebook prelims on a 42-inch HD TV. It's a shame that the stream was absolutely diabolical, but regardless, it was just a fantastic fight, and these two really went at it. I mean, there were times when I'm pretty sure Evan Dunham should have just died. Just fell down and said, I quit. I'm sick of my face getting crushed. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, I was definitely impressed with him. TJ Grant, that is. So, yeah, any other fights on that card? Jimmy Hedges versus Marcus Brimage. How shocking was that?
I was completely blown away. I mean, right before the fight happened, I always tweet out my picks during the fight cards, and I tweeted out, Hedges was my pick for that fight, and somebody came back at me and said, they thought Hedges was going to dominate, and I said, well, yeah, I said, but Marcus, if Marcus could catch him coming in and then just turn it on, I said, Marcus could have a chance, but that's probably his only chance. And then within the first minute of the fight, that's exactly what happens. Hedges comes in, Brimage clips him, and then goes right after him. And then from that point, man, he just outstruck him. It was a fantastic fight in its own right, and I was completely blown away that Brimage pulled that fight out.
Whereas Mike Bisping did a very good impression of Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz with their boxing, Jimmy Hedges did a very bad impression. I mean, it kind of worked, but it was sort of like, pap, oh, I've just been smashed around the head by a brick. Pap, baseball bat shot to the head. Pap. So, yeah, I still think Jimmy Hedges can do well. I just think he needs to bulk up maybe a little bit, well, refine his striking. His grappling is clearly there.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, I mean, my biggest problem with MMA fighters still today is that we're, close to 2 decades into this sport, and people still don't understand proper defense, striking defense. I mean, you see guys walking around with their chin up, hands down, and I can't even fathom that. I mean, I've never spent any time boxing, but my time spent in karate and whatnot, that's the first thing you learn is to defend your chin. I mean, that's what you have to do that. And these guys that walk around with their heads up just because you can take a punch is just I don't understand it. I don't understand why they can't get that figured out. Put your chin. I am one of those guys on my spar. I have my chin up, but I get really sort of, sorry to say his name again, Nick Diaz-y. I start swearing at people and trash talking and giving middle fingers and bitch slapping people. It's kind of interesting. I can imagine Erica would be like that. Like straight up gangster, the middle fingers, like, yo, do you know who I am? Erica, can you confirm this?
I can indeed confirm that.
That's what I like to hear. Fantastic.
But yeah, so I mean that's my biggest thing, man. Is I watch these guys fight and they don't show proper defense, and it blows me away. So yes, Jimmy Hedges needs to work on his striking, and yes, if he does that, he can definitely be a force at featherweight.
Yeah, cool. No problem. Yeah. So any other fights that you were very impressed with? I mean, we could mention Vinny Magalhaes. It was a great submission.
It was a fantastic submission, but not.
Should have won submission of the night, to be fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. That he definitely should have won submission of the night. I mean, John submitted a Vitor after he beat the living hell out of him.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could submit a grown man after I've hit him around the head with a crowbar for 20 minutes. I just Americana, thank you very much. Woo! Whereas Vinny Magalhaes was against run of play. He was getting beaten.
Right.
So yeah. Besides from that, Seth Brzezinski with a great knockout of Simeon Thorson. Mitch Gagnon, great submission. Carl Noak with a weird knockout, but a good one nonetheless. And that was UFC 152. Now, I didn't get to see Bellator. I don't even know the results. So, because I wanted you to tell me everything and break it down for me. So,
well I tell you what, nobody. They had the welterweight tournament. That's the opening tournament they had for Bellator 74, and none of these guys look like they have any business in the cage with Ben Askren.
Oh, wow.
So, to me, the performances were very mediocre. I mean, they were okay. I guess what the performances reminded me of are performances I see from local promotions, and that's not saying that my local promotions they don't have solid fighters. It's just not what I expect from an organization that's wanting to be second tier.
Yeah.
And so it was really, to me, it was kind of disappointing. I mean, the first two fights, Andrei Korskov and Jordan Smith and Mikhail Tasarov and Tim Welch, were fairly exciting. I mean, Tasarov got a submission victory, and Korskov got a unanimous decision. But they were sloppy fights. And Lyman Good, Jim Wallhead. Lyman Good managed to get a unanimous decision win over Jim Wallhead. It was, it was sort of back and forth. I mean, Lyman was landing punches, but it was nobody really going for the kill.
Yeah.
And so it was just a really disappointing card. And more often than not, that seems what Bellator's given us here as of late. So hopefully they address that. I mean, it's been a while since I've been really excited after watching a Bellator card.
I can't even get excited because I can't watch it. Sad times. Makes me want to cry.
Yeah, so you shouldn't be crying right now because, like I said, this was not one of their better cards, and I don't really like. And some of these guys, that fought and won tonight, I'm sure will improve and look better in their next fights. But right now, like I said, I don't feel like any of these guys are going to be able to deal with Askren, so it's kind of disappointing.
Did you watch UFC and Fuel?
Yes, I did.
I heard a few people complaining about it and saying it was terrible. But then I heard a few people saying it was amazing. So what were your opinions? Because I know you'll shoot straight from the hip.
I thought it was a solid card. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought that the John Hathaway-John McGuire fight was extremely disappointing. I have to admit, I didn't get to see all of the prelims, so I can't really comment on those. But the main card, Dwayne Ludwig suffers a knee injury. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. That fight would have probably been a lot more interesting had that not obviously happened. But overall, I enjoyed the fights. I mean, I even enjoyed Dan Hardy, Amir Sadal, even though I was poking fun at Amir Sadal the entire time.
When did Dan Hardy become a wrestler?
Well, I don't know if he's became a wrestler because his wrestling to me looked kind of sloppy. I mean, it was effective. It worked.
No, it was sloppy.
He's been working at it, but he's been according to Dan Hardy, he's been putting time in for the last, year and a half, 2 years to improve that part of his game. And so he put it on display.
I saw his ears, and I was like, never trust a man who's got what's it called again? Jesus Christ, it's completely blocked my head. I've had a brain fart. Cauliflower
ear? Okay, yeah, I was trying to figure out.
Never start a fight. What's that the saying? Never start a fight with a man who's got cauliflower ear. And he's got massive cauliflower ears, and I was thinking, so when did you grapple, Mr. Hardy? What's going on here? Shocking, but yeah, no, clearly he has some grappling chops. Amir Sadal still need to fight, and I'm so not interested in seeing him fight ever again.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, and I heard that he evidently had a really bad stomach virus 2 days prior, was ready to pull out of the fight. But even if he was 100% healthy, I don't think that matters. I think Dan Hardy still wins that fight. But it was, that fight, I mean, a lot of people weren't excited about it, and I don't blame them. I mean, it was kind of a gift to Dan Hardy.
Do you know what excited me? Seeing a video game move used in the octagon.
I must have...
Do you know
no, what are you talking about?
Erica, do you know what I'm talking about?
Not a clue. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Any of you not play Street Fighter back in the day?
Of course.
Yeah, I play Street Fighter.
Did you not notice the Shoryuken from Brad Pickett on Yushavin?
No, I've done.
Oh yeah. I guess that would. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yes.
Thank you. Did you not see the fight, Matt?
Yeah, I watched it, but I evidently I might have been looking down at my laptop when that happened. That occasionally happens.
Did you not see the knockout and the great celebration afterwards, Gangnam Style?
No, I didn't pay any attention to that, but I did see everybody Gangnam Style. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, whatever. Hey, sexy lady. Yeah, that.
Oh my god,
cool,
that is like
that guy's like the Jack Black of Asia.
That is like the best birthday present you could have possibly given me.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, if I could make that into a ringtone, I would. That was. Oh, do you like the song? Do you like it?
It's catchy, man. Like I said, he's the Jack Black of Asia. The dude.
No one likes Jack Black.
Hilarious. Huh? What's that?
People don't like Jack Black anymore.
I still like Jack Black, man.
When was the last time Jack Black made a good film?
It doesn't matter. I still like him. He's still funny.
Yeah. Tropic Thunder was the last time he made a good film.
I didn't really that big of a fan of Tropic Thunder, or his role in Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder was funny. But yes, I think that but talking about Brad Pickett, man, wow, what a knockout! And that fight was just back and forth, going at it, and literally, what's that?
He was losing that round.
Yeah, I would say it was. And what was the best part was, I put out there that I hope these guys, their chins hold up, and then it wasn't 2 seconds later Pickett smashed Eve. So it was a great fight while it lasted.
It was a fantastic fight. I was really pleased for Brad. I think he was really hard on himself after the Henan Barao loss, and it seems like he's reevaluated his how he trains and whatnot, and he's come back. He's a different fighter from the one we saw in the WEC. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember when he fought Ivan Menjivar and it was a split decision loss?
Yes.
No, split decision win. Sorry. He looked okay, but there was nothing, spectacular about him. I think the best fight he had in the WEC was against Demetrius Johnson. But since he's hit the dirt of UFC and he's had that loss to Henan Barao, the wins have been against Damasio Page and Yves Jabrin. But you know what? Yves Jabrin, decent fighter. Damasio Page, experienced. So, to be honest, I'd like to see him fight Brian Bowles or Michael McDonald next.
I could agree with that, man. I mean, and Brad Pickett, before the loss to Barao, really everybody felt that he was going to be challenging for the title. So, he's a great fighter, and it's nice to see him get a win against another fantastic striker. So,
indeed. So you didn't get to see any of the prelims, right?
No, I watched the highlights, and they replayed a few of them. So I saw Gunnar Nelson's win over DeMarcus Johnson. DeMarcus Johnson is fantastic at making other fighters look good, so it wasn't a big surprise there. I saw Jimmy Manowal's destruction of Kyle Kingsbury. That
was the most. Do you know what's really weird, right? And I mentioned this earlier. I've never actually seen Jimmy Manuwa fight live. I've never seen him fight live ever. That's really weird to me.
He's a hell of a fighter.
He's obviously got his weaknesses. He's not incredibly strong at wrestling, but he's made the advancements that he needed to. Do you know what I mean? He's gone up to Alliance MMA and trained up there with the likes of Phil Davis and Gustafsson, and trained with Eric Del Fierro to get his wrestling and other areas of his game better. His striking is on point. The way Kingsbury's face looked afterwards was quite frightening, to be honest. That's the only way to say it. There's no real joke in it. It was genuinely quite a brightening look upon his face. I hope he's okay, but I heard there were multiple fractures in his face. Yeah,
supposedly, he did have multiple breaks and in his eye socket and around it. So hopefully he heals up from that.
So no, definitely. There's something about someone getting a damaged eye socket that really sort of freaks me out a little bit. It's anything around the eye area, because it really is the easiest part on your body to get injured. And it seems obviously with MMA with the finger poking and whatnot, but just really impressive performance from Jimmy. A lot of people were worried that he wouldn't be able to make the step up. I'm not saying Kyle Kingsbury's a freaking massive step up, but compared to who he's actually fought in his career, this is a huge step up for Jimmy, and he passed the flying colours besides from being taken down. But the best thing about him when he was taken down was his defensively off his back, he was good.
No, without that, like I said, he was very impressive in his win. And hopefully Kyle can recover from the broken orbital and everything else that's wrong with his face after that fight was stopped.
Yeah, no, indeed. Aside from that, I think Andy Ogle got robbed. If I'm honest.
No, I didn't get to see that fight, so I can't comment on that.
I'll just say that now. Brad Tavares versus Tom Watson, good fight. But Watson lost. Jason Young versus Robert Peralta, scary Robert Peralta. Robert Peralta was scary.
Yeah, the dude is definitely a beast.
Indeed, indeed. But the one fight we haven't spoken about, Stefan Struve versus Stipe Miocic. Thoughts?
Well, I had Stefan winning this fight, so it wasn't a really big surprise. Well, I didn't think that he would drop Miocic, but again, it's not really surprising to me. I mean, Stipe, everybody was really big on Stipe, but we have to look at who he's beat so far. And Philip DeFries, Joey Beltran, Shane De La Rosario. I mean, those are just okay fighters. I mean, they're not anything that would scare me. And Stefan's been in there with some great fighters, and is showing so much improvement. I mean, that's one thing I have to say about the guy. He's still at the beginning of his fight. It seems like he's still not sure that he's fight. He doesn't realize he's in a fight, and it takes him a little bit to get going, which is really dangerous because he likes to be really lazy with his jab, and he still leaves his chin up there to get tagged. And so fighters that can move in, get inside, and land big punches on him, that's always going to be a scary thing for him, especially early in the fights. But he's really developing, man. And we know how quick his transitions are on the ground and how good he is off his back. So, I mean, not really surprised there with that win. And nothing against Stipe, but, I mean, Stefan Struve is just – I think the guy's just continuing to improve, something we talk about. You've got to continue to improve your game. And once Stefan really tightens up his striking even more, which, like I said, there's still some big holes that could be exploited, he's going to be really tough to deal with.
For sure. And the great thing about it is that he's really young still.
No, that's right. I mean, he's a very young fighter, and the biggest thing, man, is you just got to show constant improvement, and I think he's doing that.
Indeed. Right, UFC on FX. To be honest, there was no news this week, really. We usually go through the news things, but because there are events, there's no real breaking news, so whatever. UFC on FX, Brown versus Bigfoot. Why did he call him Bigfoot? Why can't they just call him Antonio Silva? I'd be kind of pissed off if Kevin kept just calling me Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm a big dude. I'm just pretty harsh. Are there any of the preliminary fights? Are there any preliminary fights that you want to
jump out to me? The Michael Johnson, Danny Castillo, Jeremy Stevens, Eve Edwards, and Dennis Hallman, Thiago Tavares. Those three fights, I am interested in seeing, and especially Michael Johnson, man, because I really think that he's another guy that has just been constantly improving. Especially since he's went to the Black Zillions, his stand-up has improved tremendously.
The most successful member of the Black Zillions right now.
Yes, he is, which is kind of funny knowing that being with all the members that they have. But so I'm interested in seeing that fight, how that fight breaks out, and Jeremy Stevens, man, I love watching him fight, and I love watching Eve Edwards fight. So that fight should be a really exciting fight as well.
Indeed. To be honest, none of them really stuck out for me, besides from the ones you said. I want to see Phil Harris versus Darren. Erica, how good are you with surnames?
How good am I with surnames?
Yeah.
Meaning pronouncing them?
Yeah.
Who are you looking to pronounce?
Well, if I could tell you, then I'd just randomly say it, right?
You and Yoyama.
Yeah.
Uyen Oyama? I like that name.
Say again?
Uyen Oyama.
Uyen Oyama.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's an awesome name.
It's a crazy name. It's a crazy surname. Have you not noticed that I can't pronounce surnames? Erica just stopped talking to me.
No, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I have a hard time, too. It takes me a long time. Miocic took me forever.
Miocic it's not even Miocic, it's Miocic.
I've heard it pronounced Miocic.
Well,
of the Cleveland Miocics.
If you say Miocic, that means you're like trying to do it in a Croatian accent. So, for me, that's sort of like, hipsterish, and I hate hipsters.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you, dude.
I just called you a hipster. I expect to get bitch slapped the next time you see me.
And now, I like hipsters. I think it's awesome.
Why? Why do you like hipsters? I'm like basically the black version of Clint Eastwood in what's that film where he's the old dude? Like, get off my lawn.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. Yeah, I'm like him when it comes to hipsters. Fucking hate him.
I think so. And maybe Matt will understand this more so than you, Andre. It's like it's the in thing to hate hipsters. So isn't that kind of being a hipster by hating hipsters?
It's not because I want to be.
Does that make sense, Matt? Like it's kind of weird. It's like a weird little way of thinking. But
that's no. That's not my thinking of it. I went to uni with hipsters and I hate them. I had to work behind a bar in a hipster bar and I hated them for it. Personal experience.
It sounds like maybe they just they tossed you to the curb and you didn't get to be a hipster, so you're just lashing out at them.
Yeah, I'm really upset that I couldn't. I don't go to secondhand shops and buy clothes that like a dead person would buy. A dead person would wear. Sorry. So yeah, whoop-de-doo. I'm so disappointed. Kill me.
All right, well let's get to this main card.
Damn hipsters. John Dodson versus Jussier da Silva. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Two flyweights. Jussier da Silva is a bad man. And John Dodson, we already know what he can do and what he brings to the game. So what are your thoughts? Who have you got?
Oh, I agree, man. This is a fantastic fight, and this is without a doubt should be the who the winner of this fight should be the next flyweight title contender. So I've had a hard time with this fight. Man, I'm going back and forth. I think Dodson's strength is going to come into play here. Da Silva is ridiculous on the ground, and transitions are just lightning quick. Which, I mean, we've come to know that that's going to be the staple for the flyweight division, speed, and his stand-up is solid. But I think that John is going to pose the same type of problems that Ian McCall did with Da Silva, and I think that John's probably going to pull out the UD here. But if Da Silva can get his back or get him to the ground and keep him there, who knows? Because I mean, like I said, that guy's transitions are sick. So people that haven't, maybe didn't get to watch him at Tachi Palace or Shuto, I mean, they're in for a treat getting to see this guy in the cage, and I can't wait to just see him fight, multiple times on the big stage. So this is a fantastic fight.
Indeed. I'm gonna go with. It's hard because I'm quite impressed by John Dodson. But Jussier da Silva is such a great name. Honestly, I'm going to have to go with John Dodson. I just think that the Greg Jackson factor, the fact that he's so dynamic, so fast. I think he may be, I really want to see a fight between him and Demetrius Johnson because it would literally be like the Flash versus the Flash. It would be kind of crazy. I just think John Dodson's power and speed, and the fact that Greg Jackson in his corner is going to be a whole lot of difference. So that's my pick. Josh Neer versus Justin Edwards.
Yeah. What about this? We got to pick this fight. Justin Edwards.
Do you want to throw in your non-pick card?
Yeah, Josh Neer, man. God love him, man. He keeps fighting. He's got way too much wear on his body. He could get Justin down to the ground. Justin's not the best on the ground, but Justin comes in with so much power. I've got to think that he's going to connect on Josh and flatten him, get the TKO win here. And so, Randy Couture's illegitimate child should pull out the victory.
I'm going to throw in my non-pick card. Erica, do you want to jump in for this one?
What are you picking? Who are you picking?
Josh Neer versus Justin Edwards.
I like Neer. He's been fighting forever, but I really like Neer. And who the hell is Justin Edwards? So I'm gonna go with
Neer. That's horrible. Who the hell is Justin Edwards? That's not nice. Yeah, no one actually cares who Justin Edwards is.
No, I don't think anybody really cares who wins this fight. So
No. Right, cool. Jake Ellenberger versus Jay Hiron. A rematch that I didn't really need to see. But we're getting it anyway. I'm going to go first. I think Jake Ellenberger wrestles or knocks out Jay Hiron. I'm assuming But I'm saying this whilst assuming that he's figured out his cardio issues. If he hasn't figured out his cardio issues, it goes 29-28. Matt, who you got?
See, that's where I'm at, is with Jake's cardio issues. If Jake has cardio problems and Jay can fight his game, I mean, Ben Askren couldn't hold Jay Heron down. Jake Ellenberger isn't going to hold Jay Heron down. I think Jay will get out from underneath Jake, especially midway through the second round, late third round, if Jay's able to keep high-volume punches going and avoid getting hit. I mean, when you go in and start striking with Jake, and for me, for Jay to beat Jake, he has to come in with high volume. I mean, he's going to be in a minefield. And you step on that mine, and you are done. And so, I think Jay can win this fight. I think it'll be a little bit more entertaining fight than what you're maybe giving it credit for, just because the fact that Ben Askren is a blanket, and I think Jay Heron won that fight. That being said, I'm going to go with Jake. Originally I was going with Jay Heron actually for the upset, but I'm going to go with Jake because I just survive in that minefield, man. That is so hard to do. And Ellenberger's strikes are fast and hard, and when he hits you, it is lights out. So, and Jay's been knocked out twice, so that's where I'm going. I mean, the original fight, their first fight went to a decision. I've never seen that fight, so I don't know how it broke down. But go with Jake Ellenberger getting a TKO win.
Cool. Erica, any opinions?
I'm going to agree with Matt on this one. There was a time where everybody was really high on Jake Ellenberger, and he's shown quite a few kinks in the armor in his last few fights. I think everybody was really impressed with Jay Heron's performance against Ben Askren. I don't know if anybody thought that he was going to be able to do some of the things that he did, and I'm going to go with Jay as well. Let's do it. Matt, you and I together.
Yay, go see
Yay.
Travis Brown versus Antonio Silva. I'm going to go with Antonio Silva. Pretty simple. I mean, he got absolutely destroyed by Cain Velasquez, but who, besides from Junior Dos Santos, hasn't been completely destroyed by Cain Velasquez? Travis Brown, incredibly athletic, very powerful, very violent. It's a violent sport, but there's sort of violent, and then there's violent exclamation mark, and that's sort of Travis Brown to me. But I think Antonio Silva has the experience, the skill set to get it to the ground, throw some serious ground and pound, and there's nothing worse than having someone like Antonio Silva on your chest punch you in the head, because there's no way you're going to attempt to do that no matter how big you are. So I'm going to go with Antonio Silva. Mr. Simpson, who have you got?
Well, I think we're going to be in agreement on this one. This was another fight, though. I mean, it seems like the popular pick is Travis Brown, but then I have to look back at his wins and who he's beaten, and I'm just not really impressed. I mean, he beat a Stefan Struve that I think was not anywhere close to the level he is now. He beat Rob Broughton and he beat Chad Griggs. I'm just not. I guess maybe I'm just not a Travis Brown fan. But I don't see him beating Antonio Silva. I think Bigfoot has got the overall just a slightly better game. I think Brown is probably has better footwork. I don't know, probably. He definitely has better footwork. And he got a big shot that drops Antonio, and we've seen him hurt. Daniel Cormier rocked him and smashed him, as well as Cain Velasquez. But those guys are basically carbon copies when it comes to their striking ability. So I think that Antonio's going to get the win here too, and even though he's not the popular pick, I think that Silva's size and ability to just control a fight is going to come into play here, and I think he's going to get the win.
Rightio. Erica, I would ask your opinion, but honest to God, I'm really hungry and I intend to get incredibly drunk, so we've got about half an hour left of this show to go. And let's now move on to the entertainment section. Before we talk about films, Erica, I need you in on this as well, because I know you're a fan of Sons of Anarchy. First 3 episodes of the show, this season, I just want to know your thoughts, because I'm distraught. I'm actually distraught. The first episode literally haunted me for about 2 days. I couldn't stop talking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about the burning body. I was sort of having moral arguments with myself. So I'll be talking to myself. Well, I wasn't talking to myself. I'm thinking Tig, has every right to go after Pope and try and take this dude down. But then I'm sort of like, yo, if that was my daughter and I was him, I'd burn that bitch too.
You know, the show is. I think the show is dangerously close to jumping the shark.
Yes, I was thinking that right when you were
They
saying that.
haven't quite done it yet, but they are dangerously close to it. They're playing with the idea of doing that, and uh,
Can you explain jumping the shark?
so jumping the shark is a television term that was coined during Happy Days. There was a point in the series where the Fonz literally jumps a shark on the show. And it is now used as a way of describing when a show has kind of run out of ideas, so they start doing really weird, crazy, wacky bullshit to try and bring ratings back up. And I really think that Sons is close to it. I mean, so far they haven't done anything that is too far out their realm. But the instant they have like a dance competition or something, like they've completely jumped the shark. Like
I don't see it happening. I can understand why you'd come up with the idea that they're going to jump the shark, and I respect that and whatnot. But what to me, if you look at it in a positive sense, because I know Erica, you're a cynical woman, as is every woman. So I think it's more of a shock value thing. Did anyone expect Opie to die in the third episode? I didn't. I cried. He's like my favorite character. But I didn't cry. I weeped slightly. I weeped slightly.
but that's kind of a part of jumping the shark is a shock value. That's the point of it. Is that you're trying to do something that kind of jumps your audience into to watching it. I don't think they've done it yet, but to say that is not along the same lines is I don't think that's right. I think many shows have done that where they've killed off main characters as a way.
And FX is notorious for that. Their shows, Rescue Me, The Shield, they kill off main characters like nobody's business. So that's kind of how I took it. I wasn't surprised because they've done it so many times with other shows where they've taken out somebody that you're like, I cannot believe they just killed him. Holy shit. And I was really upset because I knew one of my guys were going to die. And I liked all three of the guys that went in with Jax. So I was going to be upset regardless of who got killed.
I thought it was going to be Chibs. I never thought they would have killed Opie. Never.
Yeah, you need to watch more FX stuff. I think you'd like most of the shows that they run, and it's, but they do. They like killing the big characters.
I don't have time for that.
I don't know. They just have a collection of writers that just like killing off main characters.
I still haven't watched Boardwalk Empire.
I was never able to get into that. My mom loves that show, and I know that they killed off a main character like last season.
Yeah. Someone said that as well.
But yeah, I couldn't get into that, and I love Steve Buscemi, so.
I will get into it. I will.
Hey, Andre, can I ask you a real quick question before you move on? Did you get the news of, speaking of Sons of Anarchy, did you get the news about Johnny Lewis, who used to play Half Sack on Sons of Anarchy?
That was some crazy shit. I really liked Half Sack as well.
I think that was absolutely great. If you didn't hear, Matt, did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
So the guy who played Half Sack, his name's Johnny Lewis. He was found dead earlier this week. The police are not sure whether it was a suicide or he tripped and fell, which whatever. I guess you have to actually eliminate the fact if he tripped and fell, but whatever. Okay, anyway. But his apparently he may have or allegedly beat his 81-year-old landlady to death before tripping and falling conveniently to his death.
Gee, that's horrible.
Yep. Pretty horrible. Thanks for bringing it down to us, Erica.
Happy birthday, Andre.
Thank you. Remind me, Lacey, can someone remind me why I love this woman? Right now, but I know that I'm probably not going to 2 hours, so thanks, Erica. Let's talk about Dread now.
Did you get to watch it yet?
Yeah, I watched days ago.
Well, I tell you what. This is where like I said, I typically don't read reviews for movies until after I go watch them. I scan over Rotten Tomatoes and see what percentages they're hitting. Dread was 90% plus when reviewed by all the UK critics, and it releases in the States and plummets. And I think it's a total load of shit. I grew up loving Judge Dredd, and it's mainly due to my all-time favorite thrash metal band, Anthrax. They have a song called "I Am the Law" that is based on Judge Dredd's antics in 2000 AD. So I got into it way back when, and man, I don't think that you could get a better adaptation of this movie. And I mean, it's not quite as futuristic as the comic, but Carl Urban, man, I mean, he nailed Judge Dredd.
Oh, well, sorry, hold on a second. I thought you didn't like it.
No, I did. Going into it, I thought it was going to be a wash. I didn't even want to see the movie, but that's when I saw the UK reviews coming out, and I saw that all the high marks it was getting, so then it kind of piqued my interest, and so I was like, okay, maybe this is not going to be the 1995, was it Canon? Did Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone? And this is going to be
6 years old.
Yeah, this horrible movie. But it was like I said, man, the fact that Carl Urban was able to maintain the scowl, the Judge Dredd scowl throughout the movie. I mean, I tried to do that for like 5 minutes, and I was like, man, my face hurts. How the hell did he do that for God knows how many takes? I mean, and for those that aren't familiar with Judge Dredd, to me, Judge Dredd is basically, a lot of people I know have seen the movie Unforgiven. The William Money character, the last 10 minutes of Unforgiven, that is Judge Dredd. And that is kind of how I felt like Carl Urban was channeling his inner Clint Eastwood. And it was a mix of Pale Rider and Unforgiven. And it was fantastic. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was it sucks that I think that if you've seen The Raid, it's going to draw some comparisons because the plots are virtually identical. But this was, I mean, the slow-mo effects, and the 3D was great. I mean, I'm not a huge 3D guy. I think that Hollywood tries to just make an extra buck with it. But they showed a lot of depth with the 3D, which I think is cool. Films coming out like The Great Gatsby really, I think, takes advantage of that and can show you, so you can see a lot of depth in the movie. And it's cool, man. And the 3D effects were cool. The slow-mo the slow-mo stuff was cool. And like I said, Carl Urban as Judge Dredd, I mean, he was emotionless. And maybe that's some of the problems that the guys over here in the States had, and maybe they haven't read the comic, but that's Judge Dredd, man. He has no emotion. He is the law, and that is it.
Just kill.
So that's my take, man. I'd say it's a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars, and if you are a Judge Dredd fan, absolutely would enjoy it. Oh, if you're just a fan of action movies, man, it was a great action movie.
Cool. Yeah, I completely agree. To be honest, I'm not saying anything when it comes to the film stuff. I let it go from Matt. Matt is the guy when it comes to that. So, Looper. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot.
Oh my God, dude. I was telling Erica before the show, I actually was looking more forward to talking about movies, and it's mainly due to Looper than I was talking about MMA this week.
So wait a minute, Erica, have you seen Looper?
No, saddy face. But I want to.
Damn
Pitch
saddy
Perfect.
face.
You need to review Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Yeah, I want to get to that and Edge of.
I don't even know what Pitch Perfect is.
Amazingness. That's what it is.
Okay, right.
There's only one theater around here showing it for me, though. So but Looper, man, wow. Looper was. This might be the day after effect, but right now is a top 25 sci-fi movie for me, and it might very well be a top 10 sci-fi movie for me. I mean, the storyline was fantastic. The film was... I mean, I think this film hits everybody. The film snobs, the just general moviegoers. And it's a sci-fi movie that you can keep up with. And that my wife went to it with me, and she's not a huge sci-fi fan. And she was able to follow it all the way through. And that being the fact that it's a time travel movie on top of being a sci-fi movie can make it even more difficult to follow. But she had no problems with it. And the storyline was nothing that I expected. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting exactly, but it wasn't that, and it was a fantastic show from top to bottom. Very moving, and even in the end, I don't know about you, but there was a couple points at the end I was like, okay, this is the catalyst, and then this isn't the catalyst. Okay, this is the catalyst. I mean, it kept me guessing, and very rarely anymore do films do that with me, because I watch so many movies. They've just become so predictable, and I can't say enough about it, man. The only other movie that sci-fi released this year that's even in the same ballpark as Chronicle, which is another great movie, and if you haven't seen it, people should go check it out.
I thought you were going to throw in Prometheus.
Actually, no, man. I really like Prometheus, but that's more because I'm a huge Aliens fan, so I have to I have to pull myself back from that. I mean, as far as sci-fi films and original thought, original screenplays go, I mean, man, I can't say enough about Looper. It was just fantastic. Story development, character development, shots. I mean, some of the shots were it was amazing. I cannot say enough how absolutely amazed I was from the beginning to the end. It was 2 hours. Didn't even know it. It went flying by. It was fantastic. I mean, if you are a fan of sci-fi, this is a 5 out of 5 stars. You have to go see this in the theater. Great movie. What was your thoughts on it?
I went into it pretty much open-minded, waiting for it to just for me to go, I hate this film, and I'm pleased to say that it was just a thoroughly enjoyable experience. And I enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises. You know how much I enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises, but there were still points in that film where I sort of lost the experience, and I was going, oh, Michael Caine is basically giving everyone in the cinema a backstory of what just happened to like there were times where I got jumped out of the experience, whereas with Looper I was fully immersed in the experience, and that's what I really want in a film. Like, I was fully immersed in Inception, I was fully immersed in Seven, I was fully immersed in Slumdog Millionaire, I was fully immersed in The Dark Knight. And that's what I got from Looper the most. I was really impressed with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. His prosthetics make him look incredibly creepy, even though he does look like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, just a bad man. The original Bear Jew. I'm assuming you've seen Inglourious Bastards, right?
Oh, yes.
Bruce Willis is basically the Bear Jew, let's be honest.
No, it had to be a tough role to play too. I mean, I was just, like I said,
why? Bruce Willis plays the exact same role every single time.
Yeah, but some of the decisions he had to make, and you could see how difficult it was for him being in character and making those decisions. I mean, to pull that off and sell it. I mean, I like I said, it was great performances across the board. And I might be overselling this movie because, again, it's the day after, and it's been so long since I've watched something where I was really just, and like you said, just drawn in. I mean, the cinematography, it just pulls you in. It makes you feel like you're there. And so, like I said, I might be overselling this movie a little bit, but it has something for everybody. And it's actually, in the end, it's, what are you willing to do for someone you love? What sacrifices are you willing to make? And that's really the storyline that's there. So don't skip out on this movie just because it's science fiction, because you'll be missing out on one of the true gems of 2012.
You know, the last time I heard someone say that was actually Inception. Everyone was like, I don't really want to see a science fiction movie about dreams. Like, yo, go watch the film before you say something. It's quite an experience. So if you enjoyed Inception in that sort of realm, then I think you'll enjoy Looper, and so does Matt. And Erica hasn't seen it, so her opinion is non-valid. Is that Matt laughing? I can't tell.
Yeah, that's Matt laughing.
Oh, I love that. Erica, I love you.
So before we jet out of here, what did you think of FIFA 13?
FIFA 13 is going to ruin my sex life. That's all I have to say about it.
So it's done for you what Borderlands 2 has done to me. I haven't played a game as much as I played Borderlands 2 in a long time. I mean, I didn't buy the game because I was afraid of that happening, and it sucked me in. I've been playing the living hell out of that game.
FIFA 13 is a cruel just game of, you know, when you win, you feel jubilation, and when you lose, you just want to cry. And you remember those moments where you go on like a 6-game winning streak, and then you put the controller down, and you go to turn around to your friends and you go, lads, I'm done. I don't need to play anymore. I'm going to go lay on bed, I'm going to chill out, and I'm going to choose the tunes. I beat every single one of you twice. How'd you like them apples? Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of game it is. It's not even like a massive jump up from FIFA 12, but the little intricacies that they've added, splendid, beautiful, beautiful. Can't wait for Halo 4 now, because when that happens, I might as well become a freaking the definition of a geek. Give me the glass. I'll probably look like a black version of Leonard from The Big Bang Theory.
Hi guys. Penny.
You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, yeah, we all know what could potentially happen there. Right, cool. So, anyone you'd like to thank?
Always got to give a shout out to FightFans Radio. Go check them out. Tons of great podcasts on there. Plus, you can listen to us again. And shout out to Erica Lewis, our producer, for keeping us straight and keeping Andre straight. And, you know, thanks to everybody that downloads and listens to the show, man. Keep doing it. We appreciate it. Hit us up on Twitter, Matt Simpson MMA and Andre Jacobs MMA. If you got questions, things you want to hear us talk about, just shoot it our way.
I have to laugh, like, keeping me straight. How are you ever going to keep me straight? I'm coming into this, I'm pretty sure I've come into 60% of fight, no, 60% of across the pond MMA.
Yeah, still got to keep you got to keep it under control.
Whenever I'm under control, kind of, sort of, potentially.
I don't think you've came in as smashed as you were roughly a year ago today. So I still think that we're waiting.
No, it was roughly a year ago last time, because I actually came in on I came on the show on my birthday. If you remember.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty rough show.
It was a great show. I was fine. I did it. It was a great show. It's a great show. I'd like to thank Erica Lewis, because she is one of the funniest individuals ever, so shout out to her. Matt Simpson for being an absolute geezer. Thank you very much, kind sir. And to everyone else who downloads the show, listens to it on Stitcher, and you know that one odd person who makes love to their wife whilst listening to Across the Pond MMA. We just want to give you a thank you, and follow Andre Jacobs MMA and Matt Simpson MMA on Twitter. Follow Erica. Erica, what's your Twitter? I don't
Fight Fans Erica. Is it? I think Fight Fans underscore.
There's underscore somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's Fight Fans underscore Erica.
Erica, do you want to?
Yeah, it's Fight Fan underscore Erica.
Fight Fan.
And it's Erica with a K.
Yes, Erica with a K. Which is also my portfolio website, ericawithak.com.
Yeah. Well, you actually got www.erica.com.
No, it's actually spelled out, ericawithak.com.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. When's the Walking Dead come out? Is it this week? 2 weeks?
It's a week or 2 weeks. It's first week or second week of October.
Fair enough. Right.
We'll have our Walking Dead preview.
We will, sir. We will. Right. So an hour and a bit podcast, radio show. I hope you all are happy. We won't see you next Sunday, but we will see you on Monday. We'll discuss that. Regardless of that, Erica, play that funky music, which actually isn't funky. Bye, guys.